So to power down your iPad, you hold the button on the top, the small button on the top, for a few seconds, and you'll get a screen that allows you to swipe to power it down. It takes just a couple seconds. And you do this if you were going to have it off for a long period of time, otherwise you really don't have to completely shut them down. Then you would push and hold that same small button again until you get the Apple logo, and that will power up your iPad. It takes just a few seconds to get you back to the lock screen. And from the lock screen, you can then sweep across to open up your home screen. You can also add a actual lock code to your iPad that you can use if you wanted a little more security. Once the iPad's on, you have a home screen, which is the first screen of apps. As you add more apps, you'll add more pages. You can see down at the bottom, the little dot there shows what screen you're on as far as apps. And the one on the left is a little search magnifying glass. If you sweep all the way to the left, you end up with a search bar where you can search for apps that you might remember you purchased and can't find them, or you could also search the internet from here. Down at the bottom we have the dock, and if you noticed, as I sweep between pages, those four icons or apps stay on there. I can add those, I can edit those by holding, and this is the same way that I would rearrange icons or apps on my screen. If I touch and hold an app, everything starts to wiggle like that. You can see that they're wiggling a little bit. And then I have the ability to just touch and drag and move apps to different locations. I can bring them down to the dock if they're frequently used apps. Bring them down to the dock, and I can put up to 5 there. You can kind of get around that by grouping items into folders like that by dragging one over the top of the other one. It'll automatically create a folder for you that you can rename if you want. I could take that folder and drag it right down onto the dock, so I could put many more onto the dock if I wanted to by putting folders onto the dock. And then once I have it the way I want it, I can lock it in by hitting the home button on my iPad. There are various volume controls on the side of your iPad. You've got the volume up-down button. You also have this button here, which will turn off all sounds and alarms and reminders on your iPad and turn volume back on. You'll have to use this occasionally when you're trying to listen to things on the internet or some certain videos. You'll have to make sure that that's on. If you're getting too many alerts, you might want to turn that back off. Too many noisy things happening. That's an easy way to make sure you shut off all sounds, is that little switch. The home button is this button on the front of your iPad. That will allow you to get back to the home screen anytime you're not on it, which is your main set of apps. If you are on the home screen and you hit the home button, it will take you to the search screen by just one push. One button back will push you back to the home screen. If you hit it twice, it will bring up a set of recently used apps that you've used over the course of your last few days to weeks. And hit it again, and it will bring you back to the main home screen. So this can be a useful tool if you're trying to find an app and you can't find it, you know you just used it yesterday. Just hit the screen twice, hit the home button twice, and it will bring up your previously used apps. One other thing that you might use in this case is if an app is misbehaving, let's say, and not doing the things or locking up when you don't want it to. If you bring this recently used app screen up and then touch and hold one of the apps, it will make them wiggle and it'll give them a little red delete button in the corner, and that's kind of the kill switch that makes it reset the next time you open it. So this is sort of your force quit option if an app is misbehaving and you want to try to reset it. One button on the home button will turn that off, and one button back will bring you back to the home screen. The last thing I'm going to talk about today is the keyboard. So I'm going to bring up the Notes app to show you some things you can do with the keyboard. If I want to bring up the keyboard and I have the ability to type anywhere, I'll just put my finger on a spot where I can type and it'll automatically bring up the keyboard. Something you might want to get is a wireless keyboard if you do a lot of typing on it, because these touchscreen keyboards can be a little bit tough to type fast with. If I ever want to bring the keyboard down, I would hit this button that lowers the keyboard and takes it away. Then I would just hit the spot again. And this would be for searching the internet, typing on any document or things like that. You'll always get the keyboard. If I were to type a sentence, if I hit the spacebar twice, it automatically puts a period and starts the next sentence to kind of speed things up a little bit. If I turn the iPad the long way, it keeps the keyboard there, just makes it a little bit smaller. If I turn it back, I can also, let's say I'm typing with my thumbs while I'm holding the iPad in my hand. One trick is to place your thumbs on the F and the J button and then sweep it apart. And that brings up more of a texting style keyboard that allows you to type with your thumbs. And I can then just touch the keyboard with both thumbs and sweep it back together, and that puts them back to a standard keyboard. If you want any symbols, the symbols buttons are to the left and the right of the spacebar. So if I touch there, I get certain symbols and numbers. If I touch above that keyboard button or below the return key, I get even more symbols if I can't find what I'm looking for. Go back to letters. There's also a lot of sort of special keys. If I touch and hold on a certain key, you can see that it gives me the option of an apostrophe, and that's instead of the comma and the exclamation point that's shown. So if I want to type the word "it's," I don't have to go and find the apostrophe. I can just hold the exclamation point, find that apostrophe, and let up on it. A lot of keys, if you just hold them, so quotes, you just hold the question mark key, slide your finger up till it's blue, and you'll drop in a quote there easily. A lot of the keys have special characters. A lot of letters have special characters if you want to try to add them, depending on what they are, if they've got various symbols or accents over them for typing in different languages and things like that. So you might want to watch out for that. If I have typed some things and I want to go and fix something, I just hold my finger over the text and it brings up a magnifying key. That allows me to go to a certain spot more directly, specifically. If I let up, it gives me three options: select, select all, and paste. So if I click select, it'll highlight the word. I can then drag and drop those blue pins to wherever I want to select. Let's say I want just the word double in this case. I let up and it gives me the option to cut, copy, paste, or define. Define's kind of a neat feature for students. If they don't understand a word, they can highlight it like that and click define, and it'll bring up the dictionary definition of that word. So if they're reading something online or anywhere, if you highlight it, it will give you the option to define it. Something to let your kids know about. So I want to cut this or copy it and then go to my sentence below, and if I touch there again, it gives me the option to paste, and I paste it down there. So those are some quick things with the keyboard that you might find useful.